Hi, I'm Marshall Currier here in the Denver gallery here with Listen Up at the All Things Analog event. And I'm showing off a product that just came out, just became available. We're now shipping the new NAD M66 Preamp DAC. This is a very exciting product for us. This is an NAD's Masters series lineup, and that's our best of breed product here at NAD. This new M66 features here for the All Things Analog event here this week at Listen Up. This M66 features a proper analog bypass mode using a resistor ladder volume control. And with that resistor ladder volume control technology, it keeps that perfect channel balance between left and right as you're scaling up and scaling down the volume level. What's super exciting is not only does the M66 speak all things analog, in the sense of its analog inputs with phono, moving coil, moving magnet inputs, they're also discrete inputs separate from the analog digital converters available in the unit. But this unit does digital very, very well as well. So you've got a Dirac Live, full frequency, a license included there. You've got Dirac Live bass control. This is our first product in the NAD family to feature a Dirac Live bass control. And in addition to that, there's so many other digital feature sets. For example, HDMI with enhanced audio return channel for a two-channel system like this. Plus you've got digital audio inputs, SPDIF, digital coax, as well as even AES EBU with an XLR jack. So the M66 is our best from NAD, no question about it. It's one of the best sounding preamps, maybe the best sounding preamp and DAC we've ever built. But what's extra special about this particular product, beyond the analog inputs, beyond the digital inputs, and even beyond Dirac, is it features fully balanced differential operation with 4 subwoofer outputs. It's maybe the only preamp on the market that features 4 discrete subwoofer outputs. Why 4 subwoofer outputs? Well, what's unique about having 4 subwoofer outputs is you can have smaller, strategically placed subwoofers in your listening space, and then have each of those calibrated for where they are placed in the listening room. So they get the best performance, the most even bass response in that room, despite it only being a 2-channel audio product. So it's technically a 2.4 channel preamplifier in DAC. We've got ESS Sabre Pro digital to analog converters and ESS Sabre Pro analog to digital converters, should you choose to wish to listen to, say, your nice analog sampled to digital so that Dirac can leverage all of its capabilities. The M66 is shipping now. It's available now at listenup.com, and its retail price is $54.99. The M66 is also wired here at the show, balanced into the left channel for one M23 power amplifier, and the right channel is the second M23 power amplifier. These power amplifiers are just 2-channel power amplifiers. They're 2 by 200 watts using Purify Eigentox, a power platform. We call it hybrid digital here at NAD. But they're operating in bridge mode for the show today. And so by operating them in bridge mode, it's 1 by 700 watts for one amp, and then the second amp is also 1 by 700 watts. In addition to having the analog inputs for, say, a turntable, they're wired uniquely so that one set of inputs for the moving coil cartridge on this nice Denon turntable is available to be upsampled into digital so that Dirac can use it for room correction. Or alternatively, that same input with the one connection is separately wired internally using a discrete analog bypass circuitry with the resistor ladder volume control just for those analog inputs. And it shows up in the interface using the remote control or, say, your BlueSound app or BluOS app for your phone. It shows up as a separate input. So basically, it's one analog input in either bypass mode or normal operation mode. And so in terms of the way it's configured, you'll see, and of course you can hide a number of sources here on the front panel, but I can operate those analog inputs from the touchscreen here on the front panel or from the remote control. And then I can leverage that volume control, of course, on the remote, on the front panel, or I can even use that analog bypass mode and control the volume in BlueSound or the BluOS controller app. So even though I'm using the app to work the volume, we're still leveraging that analog bypass circuitry. So that's on the analog side. So on the analog side, we have, again, discrete paths for moving coil and moving magnet. I've got these cool VU meters here playing while the LP is spinning. But let's talk a little bit about the BluOS functionality. So in this preamplifier DAC, of course, has embedded into it basically a Bluesound node in terms of the architecture of doing multiple rooms of streaming music. So we can do 24/192 streaming from a variety of different streaming sources, Tidal, Qobuz, Amazon Music, just to name a few. Plus we have the faculties to do AirPlay 2 as well as Bluetooth aptX. And it's part of that Bluesound ecosystem, or that BluOS or BluOS ecosystem, available from NAD, available from Cyrus, from Monitor Audio, from Dolly. So there are a number of different companies that we've partnered with BluOS or BluOS. And for us, this represents our best. One new critical technology of the M66 is a circuitry that we call Dynamic Digital Headroom. DDH is a unique headroom technology where we trim the gain of the input signal to allow a reshaping of the waveform above the digital signal so that you don't have any harshness or, say, sibilance with the digital audio source. And so that DDH circuitry exclusively available in the M66, it's the first product ever to do that. But that can be toggled on in the app. It's on by default. And I mentioned BluOS or BluOS. This is, of course, part of a multi-room ecosystem. So I can have, say a Bluesound soundbar, an NAD home theater receiver driving my home theater, and then the M66 on my 2-channel rig, and I can basically have one song playing to all those zones. I can have one song playing to all those zones at the same time. And so the M66, again, is just another room or another zone in your BluOS controller app. So there's so much strength here to be utilized from the analog inputs, the digital inputs, streaming, and you can do all of that from your comfy chair using your smartphone app from BluOS, the BluOS controller app. So one or two more things to mention. If you look at the back panel, and you can look at images there on ListenUp's website, you'll see all the different inputs you've got, the balanced inputs for ASCBU, the balanced outputs. But on the far left-hand side of the back panel, you'll also see 2 MDC2 card slots. So the M66 joins the C399, 389 as being the only products to feature NAD's new MDC2 upgradable technology. And that modular design construction is something that's extra unique to NAD. One of the hardest things about doing modular inputs or modular upgradability is you have to keep doing it. After a while, if you stop making the cards, then there's really very little value. And so we've been doing that for over a dozen years, the MDC platform. The M66 is part of the MDC2 platform. So specifically, you have to look for the MDC2 cards. Now, thankfully, there aren't too many available, so you don't have to do a lot of shopping right now. There aren't too many cards available for the M66 because it has everything built in. But should some new technologies, whether it be USB or HDMI, come out down the road, the M66 can be upgraded to leverage that using MDC2 from NAD. One of the things to expect in terms of performance with the M66, it is our best, no question about it. So we've got, with Dynamic Digital Headroom, you're really going to be hearing music you'll really be hearing things in the music you listen to for the first time. I've had this in my home for a week or two, upgrading it from an older set of Master Series components, and I was re-listening to all my demo tracks in my system. One extra cool thing beyond, of course, the VU meters and the touchscreen is we've got a 1/4 inch headphone output there on the front panel. It's an ultra-low output impedance, and it's good for headphones in terms of gain. I want to say, check my spec sheet. I want to say up to 600 ohms. But in terms of the performance of the headphone circuitry, it's a low output impedance for larger headphones. And if you've got wireless headphones, we can also do Bluetooth aptX as an output. So the M66 will disable its main outputs if you choose the Bluetooth output in the app, and it will route that audio to everything from your AirPods to something nicer from ListenUp that does Bluetooth aptX. In terms of sound quality, the M66, of course, being a separate preamp and DAC, can connect to any amplifier. So if you have a, say a nicer Class AB amplifier, or you've got something from NAD in our Master Series family, it'll pair up very, very, very nicely. You'll get lots of tremendous dynamics, nicely rounded high frequency details from cymbals and hi-hats and trumpets, things like that. I know personally, having this in my home for about 2 weeks, again, I was hearing all sorts of really well finely resolved details on my separate system at home. I think the M66 leveraging the ESS Sabre Pro DAC for both the digital content but also the analog inputs really helps it separate itself from the NAD Classic Series products and other products we've come out with in the past. That rounds out our walkthrough of the M66, paired up with our two M23s here at the Listen Up All Things Analog event. I'm Marshall Courier. Thanks for tuning in.